rounding third with home plate in sight. But even the best players need a coach to wave them in. Safe! Welcome to Perfect Game Retirement, hosted by Ryan Ledden, former pro baseball player, University of Georgia economics graduate, and now certified financial planner with Black Oak Asset Management. He's here to guide you through the final stretch and help you slide safely into a winning retirement. Play ball!
Welcome in. This is Perfect Game Retirement. Glad to have you on the show this week as we jump into some good topics. As always, talking financial planning, retirement planning. We do that with Ryan Ledden, who is president and financial coach, also certified financial planner at Black Oak Asset Management with offices in Alpharetta, Macon, and Lawrenceville. You can find everything online at retireperfect.com. But we'll be talking about the first year of retirement. You've retired. Now what? That first year can be a tricky one to navigate if you're not prepared. So we'll talk about that. Also, is this a thing? You might have heard a lot of these things we talk about today around the world of financial planning, but is it actual reality? Is there something to it? We're going to break that down today with Ryan. But I know, Ryan, it is fall break about to kick off, right? I'm sure you have a nice, easy week ahead of you.
Yeah, we had my son's football game yesterday, and as of this morning, we're going to head to Athens, and my daughter got invited to a prospect camp for softball. She's a big
awesome.
softball player. So yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to get invited to it. And cause I mean, yes, most people know on here that we're Georgia fans, but that's where my wife played. So it's kind of neat and nostalgic, if you will. Doesn't mean she's getting a scholarship at all. She's only a freshman. So we still have a little ways to go. We got a couple years before we start wading through this heavy recruiting stuff. But these are kind of the entry level things of getting invited and getting exposure to things like that. And as soon as we get done there, we're going to head to Hartsfield Jackson Airport and get on a one-way flight down to Orlando because my son and wife are already down there at Disney. So we're heading down there for about a week to Disney. And so they'll be enjoying the park today without us. I told them not to wait on us, but my daughter really wanted to do this. So we'll do this camp and then head down and go have some fun down there.
Yeah, I know Disney's always a great trip, but is she more excited about the camp or the vacation?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question because I presented her with both. Like, hey, we don't have to go to Athens today. If you just want to do this vacation, because we wanted to do something over fall break because, like we talked about on the show before, this summer we were always in two different locations. My wife was with usually my son, and I was usually with my daughter with all the travel stuff we have going on. So it's been few and far between that we've been in the same hotel room together. So we wanted to make a point to do this, and of course they wanted to head down to Orlando and do this. And then we get, a few weeks ago we get this invite, and I'm like, oh gosh. So I said, sweetheart, I'll do whatever you want to do. Here's the opportunity. This is what has been presented to you. UGA wants you to come up there and go to their camp. Do you want to do it? If not, that's totally fine. We'll just head down to Orlando. And she's like, no, I want to do it. So I think she's looking forward to it. But then as soon as it's over, she'll be focused on riding rides for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congratulations. That's a cool thing to experience. I know you guys have put a lot of time and effort in. So hopefully this is just the beginning of something special. We'll definitely be following along. All right, as we get into today's show, a couple things to remember. Retireperfect.com. You can schedule a free consultation. We give you the opportunity to do that just by listening to the show. Again, go to retireperfect.com. You'll see a link there at the top that you can request that consultation. You'll be able to sit down and meet, just a phone call to begin things with Ryan at Black Oak Asset Management, and then y'all can kind of go from there. But great opportunity just to kind of learn more about them, but also give them a chance to learn more about you. It all begins at retireperfect.com. Now I want to start off with this kind of first year retirement idea, Ryan. I know, once you kind of get there, it's exciting. Obviously, it's a huge transition of life. And some people subscribe to that first year rule, which says that the majority of your best retirement months will all take place in the first year of retirement. So we want to make sure that you're in the best strategic position during that first year. And we want to make sure you set the tone the right way, both emotionally and financially. So the first thing, Ryan, is just that big adjustment curve from saving, stocking up, making sure you're in a position for retirement. Now you got to change that mindset. So how do you adjust financially when you make that transition to retirement?
Yeah, it's not easy. And a lot of times it's not a dollars and cents thing. Sometimes people have enough to retire. It's kind of the emotional part of not working anymore. Some people have no problem with it. They're like, thank you, see ya, I'm out, I'm gone. But then, because a lot of people's work was their purpose. And so, shifting gears to not having that purpose anymore can be a huge adjustment, especially in that first year. So it's not always dollars and cents when it comes to that. A lot of times it's the psychology, the emotional part of that when you do adjust. Now to the dollars and cents stuff. So yes, usually people spend more. This whole adage of, you can live on 60, 70% of what you were making before. That is usually not the case. It can be the case, but usually not the case, especially in that first year, because people just have plans built up. They want to do things, which is great. That's what they have been saving up for their entire lives. So make a plan for it. Preferably, try to pay off consumer debt. Try to have your mortgage paid off so that your guaranteed dollar amount that's leaving your investment accounts is as minimal as possible. So not everybody has their house paid off at retirement. That's the goal. Not everybody has that. But if you can, let's do that. And let's have a big emergency fund. I like to have closer to a year's worth of income when it comes to an emergency fund, because let's say you do have these big extravagant plans throughout the whole year and the market takes a dive like in 2022. It had a bad year across the board. Even your safer investments like your fixed income bonds, they retreated as well because interest rates went up, which means bond prices go down. There's an inverse relationship there. So there's a lot of things going on. So being able to have that big buffer in there in case the market tanks and maybe you don't take as much money out, you can take some out of your cash holdings, let those investments rebound. So there's a lot of things going on, but also there's the flip side. There's the people that have this kind of restrictive mindset that, oh my gosh, I am not working anymore. I do not have a paycheck anymore. I can't enjoy this. So there's two ends of the spectrum where people enjoy it too much and then some people that don't enjoy it at all. You have to find that balance to really enjoy, again, especially that first year, but you need to know and have that plan. That way you don't have that restrictive mindset of, oh my gosh, I can't do this because I'm not earning income. Well, no, I have this built into my plan. I can spend this money and I'm okay and I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, so learning to adjust financially is kind of that first step and just something you need to be prepared for and be ready for. And again, what an advisor helps you with. And, along the same lines, the advisor is also going to help you establish an income plan, a sustainable income plan, maybe more importantly, or a withdrawal strategy for you. And this is something, Ryan, that a lot of people just aren't prepared for on their own, are they?
Yeah, I mean, it's your new salary's got to come from your investments or your pension or your Social Security or your passive income if you have real estate. So what's your retirement salary? And so it's better to just like gradually pull this income out instead of taking larger, big chunks all at one time. Because what if you need that larger chunk and the market is doing poorly, like I mentioned in our first point? Then not only is the market down 5, 10, 15, 20%, then you're taking your percentage off on top of that as well. So it even eats into that, to your nest egg even more while your market is down. So let's say you want to take an extravagant cruise or a huge vacation that costs tens of thousands of dollars. Well, let's make a plan for that. Let's save up for that. And let's take that out basically in like your retirement salary, if you will, and carve those dollars off every single month. That way you're kind of reverse dollar cost averaging as opposed to dollar cost averaging when you were putting money in every single paycheck into your 401k or IRAs, whatever they may be. Now you're reverse engineering that. So taking money out is completely different. So you're in the decumulation phase is completely different than the accumulation phase. So making a plan, and that way you don't have to second guess your purchases, whether it's, hey, we need to buy a car in 2 years. Okay, let's kind of pay yourself a little bit, and that way you can take that money, put it in savings into your savings account. That way, when you're ready to buy a car or whatever large purchase you have on the horizon, that way you're not second guessing every single purchase that you make. There is a plan for it. And again, there's a reoccurring theme. We keep talking about planning. Well, that's what we do is helping people plan that out.
Yep, and the planning begins at retireperfect.com. Log on, retireperfect.com, schedule a free consultation with Ryan and begin talking through some of these things and making sure you have that income plan in place. I know this is a huge piece of retirement planning, but again, just one piece of what they do to help retirees at Black Oak Asset Management. And I guess, Ryan, too, with that, there's kind of two ends of the spectrum if you don't have that income plan. You either feel like, okay, maybe I can just go back to work. I'll just do whatever I need to do, but I've got a fallback plan to go back to work. Or you're just hesitant to ever spend money, then you truly can't ever enjoy retirement, can you?
No, I mean, it's tough to do. I mean, having that fallback plan of going back to work, most people don't want to. They have that freedom, and then it's like, okay, I'm not going back to work. I mean, my dad even said it. My dad didn't need to at all. And he even said, I may do something, just stay busy, stay active. And you go through a few years of kind of doing your own thing, and it's usually not the case. So you want to have a specific plan. You want to have contingencies to those plans, but have one specific for you.
All right, one last thing here. As you're heading into that first year of retirement, you got to really pursue a purpose. Moving away from the financial conversation a little bit here, Ryan, it's so important to have a purpose in retirement because so many people get lost with all that extra time and not knowing what they truly want to do.
Yeah, this goes back to kind of my first point is the purpose component. Like, what are you going to do? What kind of kid? What are you going to do when you grow up? Type of thing. What does that purpose look like? What is your mission? Is it? And it's different for everyone. That's where we want to hear what people want to do. All right, this is what you want to do. Let's make a plan around what you want to do. So there's always that kind of joke of every day Saturday, and there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of times my dad has no idea what day of the week it is because he's been retired for so long, and there's no specific schedule. But maybe sometimes keep a little bit of a schedule where you do certain things on certain days, not like being held restrictive to a schedule, but you kind of build in a routine so you kind of know, okay, I'm looking forward to this, or I have this to look forward to. Whether that's if you are a big golfer, that hey, you play on 2 days a week and you have this day and this day, or you go on vacation once a quarter and you plan out the next vacation while you're on that vacation. So it's something to look forward to, but staying connected. If it's your church that you go to, staying connected with friends, people you used to work with. I mean, it's staying connected with your family and the people around you is going to give you that purpose, but maybe it is volunteering. Maybe it is doing something with a higher purpose than you thought. But keeping your eyes and ears open to opportunities like that may present themselves that you don't even know or have planned for. So it's a new routine, and just have a plan and a purpose for it. You need to have some open time where you can kind of do whatever. But at the same time, if you build in a little bit of a routine, that I think that allows people to be even more comfortable in retirement, not just to have every day is kind of a Saturday type thing.
How much of that do you do with people that you work with at Black Oak Asset Management, Ryan, in terms of just helping them come up with a purpose? Because I'm sure there's, not everyone knows how they want to spend their time in retirement or don't have a good grasp of what that's going to look like. Yeah,
we do. I mean, some people don't. They don't know. Most people have a pretty good idea of what that looks like, but some people don't. So I've even had some clients who, again, the math was there. I'm like, you can do this. Like you're perfectly fine to retire, but they just didn't have that purpose. They just didn't know what was next. So I said, you know what, let's hold as long, and they enjoyed their job. So it wasn't like it was just dreading every single day to go to work. I'm like, let's just pump the brakes on this. If you're okay, let's continue to soul search those things. Let's continue to figure out what that next step is and start having conversations and people around you. Hey, what do you do? So it's important to have that. So we did. We actually, they didn't retire when they kind of quote unquote could or wanted to. So they pumped the brakes on it, and they found a new way and things that they wanted to do. So we absolutely do that for people who are struggling with it. But yeah, it's usually the dollars and cents part. We can help come up with that and give people that peace of mind. But then the next big step is, what is that purpose?
Got to find that purpose. Well, if you want help planning, if you haven't started planning, getting close to retirement, want to be ready for that first year, go ahead and take advantage of that free consultation. Get it booked. You can do that at retireperfect.com. Click the button right there. It says free consultation. Very easy. We make it simple for you, but we want to say thanks for being a part of our show. Just go to retireperfect.com and book that free consultation. All right, we got to take a quick time out. We got a mailbag question coming up here in a brief second. Also going to dive into some statements you might have heard, some things that are out there that you might believe, but are they true? We're going to talk about that with Ryan right here on Perfect Game Retirement.
The bases are loaded and your financial future is on deck. Are you ready? This is Perfect Game Retirement.
You're listening to Perfect Game Retirement with Ryan Ledden, President and Financial Coach, also Certified Financial Planner at Black Oak Asset Management with offices in Alpharetta, Macon, Lawrenceville, and of course, Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida as well. But you can find everything online at retireperfect.com. Also, we offer you the chance to take advantage of some books that Ryan has put a lot of time in and his team have put a lot of time in on. And one of those, Ryan, that you just have released is one for federal employees as well. Now, this is a great tool for anyone that is a federal employee to help them prepare for retirement.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of news since the beginning of the year, a lot of news of federal employees and what their future holds. And so, yeah, we thought it was a good opportunity. And one of my other advisors, Nick in Macon, he works with a lot of federal employees, as do I. But we just thought it was important to come out with something like this. So, it's called the Federal Retirement Code. I mean, there's so many things to go through, whether it's, if you're a FERS or SIRS or, your TSP, a lot of acronyms going on in the federal space. So what does that look like? What does that look like with your benefits? There's so many decisions that need to be made. So we thought it was a good opportunity to release this. So yeah, that's kind of our new kit. We got 3 different kits that people can choose from if they want to have us send them a book with supplemental materials in there. So, but yeah, this one's I think much needed, and so we're super excited about it. So yeah, feel free to request that one. Again, we have our guide for single women, divorcees, widows, or you can still be married, and it's geared toward females. We co-authored that with Autumn, one of our other advisors here, and then just the diffuse the retirement threats. So we try to encompass as many people as we can that may be specific in a lane that they're in, but you can request a kit. All we just need your information and where to send it to, and we'll ship it out to you.
Yeah, these are complimentary, and again, a way to help inform and educate. That's the goal of Black Oak Asset Management. It's not, there's no trick, there's no catch with these books. It's really just information to kind of help you be more successful long term. That is the goal. So again, go to retireperfect.com to take advantage of any of those books that team have put together. All right, I said we had a mailbag question. We do this week from Betsy in Douglasville. Ryan, here's what she wants to know. My dad has made me the beneficiary of his brokerage account, which is a sizable portfolio of stocks. I don't know much about how the portfolio is invested, but I'm mainly worried about the tax implications of this when he passes away. Is there anything that I should be preparing for now?
Well, Betsy, good question. I mean, how the tax code is written now, as long as that account is just in your dad's name and it's not jointly titled, which again, you didn't say that, but you are the beneficiary of it, as long, just keep it that way. Keep it in your dad's name and you as the beneficiary. So what happens if and when your dad passes away, and if and when you inherit this account, you get a step up in basis. A step up in basis means, again, I'm just going to use easy math here. If, maybe they put in $400,000 of their own money and it's grown to $1 million. Well, there's $600,000 in gains that if your dad were to liquidate that account, then there would be capital gains on that $600,000. Versus if once you inherit that money, if it's $1 million when he passes away, you pay zero tax on any of that. You get a step up in basis. So it means it goes all the way up to $1 million. So $1 million is now your principal amount, or your what they call cost basis. So, you shouldn't owe any taxes on that growth. Now, where there could be some tax implications is the day of his death. That's kind of where the account balance is kind of figured as far as the cost basis. And by the time you inherit it, let's say it's grown by $50,000. Well, the $50,000 of growth, you could potentially owe taxes on that. But again, in general, you're in good shape here, Betsy. Just keep it in his name and you as the beneficiary.
Great question, Betsy. And again, you can always sit down with Ryan, have that first consultation by going to retireperfect.com. This is one of the things you might want to talk about, right? It could be one of the conversation starters, one of the things on your mind. But whatever it is, you can always get in touch at retireperfect.com. All right, so our final segment here, I want to talk about some things that you might have read about or maybe seen on TV that you assume happen all the time. But are these things really a thing? Are they actually rooted in reality? So Ryan, I'm going to give you a situation. I want you to tell us if this is actually a thing that you see happening in the real world. So first up here, family members gathering in a room for the reading of a will to find out who's inheriting what. We see this on TV and in movies a lot, but does this actually happen?
I haven't witnessed it. I'm not saying it can't, but yeah, every single movie that you see that this thing is happening, or commercial or whatever, you see, you see it happening. One of my I love this movie, Gran Torino. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Clint Eastwood. It's a great movie, but same thing at the very end. You see the reading of the will, and there's some choice words in there, and even the attorney says that. Excuse the language here, but the kid that he befriended during the movie, he ends up giving him his Gran Torino, and his two sons, thinking they were going to get it. And they didn't, but it was a great ending to the movie. But I've never seen that play out. Could it? Yeah, sure. I'm sure it possibly could, but I've yet to see that in person, and I've dealt with it a lot, from clients or to my own personal family situations. I've never seen it. It could, but I doubt it.
Yeah, one of those things that we kind of picture this big grand moment in life, but yeah, maybe not really playing out that way. All right, what about people discovering an old investment account that they forgot about or thought they never really had, or just kind of got long lost? But does this happen? Do people discover old accounts like this?
This 100% happens. Not to everyone, but this happens a lot. This is where, over time, as you leave jobs, like, consolidate that stuff. Don't leave it. My advice is that you have several options, but I would not leave it at the old employer, the old 401k plan, because they may change the plan. They may move custodians, and it's a lot of upkeep. So, move it to your new retirement plan. Will usually accept the funds from a previous employer. So at least do that, so you keep track of it. Or, you can roll it over to an IRA. You can do it on your own. Again, you can use an advisor to help you do that. I mean, there's several options. I just would not leave it at the old one, because I've seen it happen. I've seen clients that have one client who was trying to track down one from the 80s, had like $9,000 or $10,000 in there, and they were like, I didn't even know I had that one. But it was out there. Sometimes the unclaimed property, you can find it on there. So you can go to the unclaimed property, just Google search unclaimed property, state of Georgia, and you can put your name in there, and you may find some stuff in there. But sometimes the Social Security Administration, they find some things. So it's happened. I've seen it. So just stay on top of these things, even if they're $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 accounts. Like, they grow over time, and if you don't keep track of them, you'll just lose it.
Yeah, and if you need help with that kind of stuff, that's what an advisor can help you with, right? What to do with that money, how to invest that money, right? If you move it around. And again, you can always get in touch with Ryan, retireperfect.com, if you need someone to help you with that, or just overall investment strategies in general. That's one thing that Black Oak Asset Management can help you with, but you don't want to lose track of that money that you've worked so hard to save. All right, what about this? Is this a thing, Ryan? Someone inheriting money from a relative that they never expected to inherit money from? Do we get these surprise inheritances?
It can. This is a rare thing. I think in the years I've been doing this for a living, I think this has only happened like one time, and it wasn't even a significant amount. But yeah, it was a distant relative, and they were one of the few that were still left in this family, and they did inherit some money. So it can happen, but I've never heard of this giant windfall. I'm sure there's listeners out there that maybe this has happened to them, but it's a very rare thing, not as common as the previous point that we brought up about old investment accounts. But this one can happen. It's very rare, but still, I guess it's possible.
We can't rely on that surprise inheritance from that long lost aunt that we hadn't talked to in years. Okay. What about this thing? Kids in today's world working their way through college. We heard about that a lot. You might have done some of that, Ryan. I know you maybe had friends that did that, but does this still happen? Do people work their way through college still?
They do. It's less common, I think. And I'm not, some of my friends, I'm of the age where we had kids a little bit later in life, so we still have a high schooler and a middle schooler. But I do have some of my peers and my friends who have kids in college, and it does happen. Working their way through college, taking a full load, and like paying for the whole thing is very difficult, just because of how much tuition and these things cost these days. But still definitely a thing where you can work through, still take a full load and still work through it for sure.
Yeah, and look, college is much more expensive now than it was 20 or 30 years ago, too, so it's a little more difficult. A couple more here. Is this a thing, Ryan? People successfully timing the market. I think I know the answer to this, but is this a thing? Does this happen?
Yeah, I mean, you only hear of those, times and people that actually do it, but you never hear of the times where they don't do it. And that's usually the case. I'm just, people listen to the show. I'm just not a big market timer. We look for market opportunities, but from day to day, from hour to hour, minute to minute, you don't know what headline's going to pop up. I can't remember the announcement, but it was a few months ago during this year, and I'm sitting there doing work. I was working on something else, and all of a sudden I'd see the market is up like 3 or 4% within like a few minutes. And I think it was a Trump announcement of something. I don't know if it was a tariff repeal or something. And so we just don't know when these headlines are going to hit. So market timing is usually a loser's game. There are people who are successful at it and can do it, but the consistency of it's kind of like a gambler. Like you hear someone who hit it big, but you don't hear of all their losses that are out there, because timing the market is essentially glorified gambling to me.
Yeah, for sure. You hear the stories, but really it's very difficult to do. And again, that's why you work with an advisor. That's why you have a plan. That's why you have a process that looks long-term and prepares you for these things. You don't want to try to hit a home run to hopefully take care of your retirement. And you can go to retireperfect.com to begin that process with Black Oak Asset Management. Again, it's free. We appreciate you being a part of Perfect Game Retirement every week. And that's why we offer you that opportunity to sit down and have that first conversation with Ryan. It's no obligation, no charge, just a chance to kind of get to know Black Oak and also let them kind of get to better know your situation and what questions you might have, what concerns you might have about your retirement. It begins at retireperfect.com. And again, you address a lot of these things we talk about today with this show, Ryan, and other shows we do every single week. But there's a lot that goes into this, and it's so difficult to do on your own. It's why you want to have a professional that works on this every single day.
Yeah, like we mentioned before, I mean, working with advisors is just not about the investment portfolio or the rates of return that you get. I mean, that's a big component of it. But again, there's tax planning. We offer tax preparation. It's usually an additional cost because we partner with a firm that does tax preparation. We just essentially whatever they're charging, we just kind of pass that cost on to our clients. If they don't have a CPA, they don't have to use the firm that we partner with. But tax planning, tax preparation, investment planning, income planning, financial planning, estate planning, my goodness, there's so much to it. And not only to mention the psychology and the emotional component of it. I mean, I tell people we're advisors, but a lot of times I'm a marriage counselor, a therapist, and, all rolled into one. So we're a lot of times that objective voice of reasoning between maybe a married couple who's kind of going back and forth on something, and I can be the next set of ears and listen and then kind of give my thoughts on it. So there's a lot more to it than just hey, what rates of return are you getting? There's many more aspects to it.
So if you're getting close to retirement, you want to have a plan in place. Begin that process. Go to retireperfect.com. Book that free consultation to talk with Ryan and the team at Black Oak. Also, if you're a federal employee, take advantage of that book they just put out. It's a great opportunity to learn more about what's happening. I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but the Federal Retirement Code, co-authored by Ryan and also by Nick there in the office, can be found at retireperfect.com. Request your free copy today. Well, that'll do it for us. For Ryan Ledden at Black Oak Asset Management, I am Ben George. We'll talk to you again next week right here on Perfect Game Retirement. Thanks for listening.
Information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute tax, investment, or legal advice. Please consult with a qualified professional before taking any action. Securities and registered investment advisory services offered through Silver Oak Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Black Oak Asset Management and Silver Oak Securities, Inc. are not affiliated.